Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA veteran Marcus Hicks. Marcus, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Marcus, you got a fight coming up July 18th at Legacy FC 33. How's training been going for the fight?
Training's been going good. Everything's starting to fall into place.
Mm-hmm. And now, are you still training out of your gym, Hicks MMA, and also, who are you working with at your gym?
I'm working with my gym, and I bring a couple different guys in. A guy named Haywood. We're bringing in some different wrestlers. My coach is John Marcellus. So, I mean, everything's coming together pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Now, is Hicks MMA, is that still the same facility? Because I rewatched A Day in the Life of Marcus Hicks, a short video that WEC put out back when you fought, or before you fought Jamie Varner at WEC 35. Is it still the same facility?
Yeah, that's one of them. We have another location in Carrollton now also, but that's where we train and get ready to fight at the location you saw now.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember that video?
Yes, I do.
What exactly was going on in that video? Because it seems like they just popped a camera right in your face and away you went.
It was kind of like one of them things where, it was really kind of like one of my friends was recorded it and sent it in, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see. Just curious, how many students do you have at your gym?
I got probably over 30 or so.
Mm-hmm. And are these mostly guys that you're training to, potentially start a career in MMA, or are these mostly people who are just, trying to learn martial arts, trying to learn self-defense, kind of the everyday civilian?
Yeah, more everyday civilians, and I train kids also.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite thing to coach? Is it the youth? Is it the average Joe? Is it the guy who's trying to make it as a pro fighter or amateur fighter? What do you prefer? What would you rather see?
I love training anybody that wants to work hard. I really does, and as long as you work hard, I'm pretty sure you can reach whatever goals you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Now, which do you prefer as a coach when you're trying to coach a fighter? Would you prefer someone who, has been in the sport for a while and comes to you to try to, I need to switch this about my game, and, I've already fought, but I want to improve, and I think you can help me. Would you rather work with that guy, or would you rather work with a guy who you've started with from day one, the unknown guy, the guy who doesn't really know much, but you can mold him? Which do you prefer? Do you prefer to work with the guy who has a lot of experience, or do you prefer to work with the guy who's a newcomer?
I prefer the newcomer.
Just curious, why? Is it because you can mold them and they are?
It's pretty much like a clean slate. You know what I mean? You don't have to go back and correct them dropping their hands, because you can do it from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How many guys are on your fight team? Like, are you cornering a lot of guys often? Do you have an amateur system set up? What's the deal with that?
I got some amateur guys that I'm working on. I got probably about 5 guys that are getting ready to fight. I got 3 MMA guys and 2 boxers that I'm working with. And, they should do some good things in the sport, I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, what exactly is the curriculum you're teaching? What exactly is the main thing you're focusing on with some of these guys? Or does it just depend on style of who you're working with?
Of course, we're getting closer to them competing. We focus more on what they're going to be doing. But normally, if it's one of my MMA guys, I make sure they do the boxing, the wrestling, and the jiu-jitsu, of course. And if it's my boxers, we just work on being in position and creating a lot of angles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, how much do you focus on training those guys when you have a fight coming up? Like, will you still be, working with them a lot, on the coaching side? Obviously, these guys are probably going with you when you're trying to get ready for your fight, as a sparring partner or rolling or wrestling against. But when you're in camp for a fight, how much will you focus on the other guys at your gym? Obviously, you're the head man there. It's your gym, but how much will you focus on those guys when you have something coming up?
When I got something coming up, I can't focus on them quite as much, so I have my assistant coach kind of take over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just curious, what's a typical day like for you?
Wake up in the morning, cardio, come home, eat breakfast, take another nap, train in the middle of the day, get in some good sparring, rest a little bit, teach class, and again, in, rest and train again, pretty much. Really. Just train, sleep, train.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what about when you're not in camp? Is it pretty much the same?
It is, but it's just a little bit different. I mean, I still get up and train, and then I love doing jiu-jitsu. I love doing boxing. So I try to make sure that I still incorporate those every day. But I just kind of relax a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having all my food prepared, I don't have it with me. I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking a lot of water. I just relax a little bit. Then I get back on it.
I see. You were supposed to fight Gilbert Burns on this card. He ended up having to pull out of the fight, and now you're going to be taking on Marty Usman. Are you disappointed that you're not going to be fighting Gilbert Burns on July 18th?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a little bit disappointing, but I was just looking at the opportunity to get in there and compete, so it really didn't matter who it was.
I see. How much do you know about your opponent?
I did a little research on him. He seems like he's more of a wrestler base. He'll stand, but I think his background is more wrestling.
Now, Legacy has been around for a while. You've been around the sport for a really long time. I'm just curious, why did it take so long for you and Legacy to link up? You're from Texas. They're a Texas-based show. Why did it take so long for you to finally get on the card for them?
I'm not really sure. I think the opportunity presented itself. They were playing close to where I live, where I got my gym, and they gave me a call, and I was up for it.
Mm-hmm. How many fights do you have with Legacy?
We just signed a one-fight deal, and then go from there.
Oh, I see. Now, the last time you fought was back in January of 2012. You won that fight against Josh Lee by submission due to a guillotine choke. With you being out for a while, the 2 years you haven't fought. This will be your first time fighting in 2 years. Any worries about ring rust at all?
Not too much. I just got to go out there and play my game, regardless. I've been off 2 years or 2 weeks. It's still going to be the same as long as I do what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to know, how did you get your nickname, the Wrecking Ball?
I started out at 245 pounds, and taking big guys down, and working on being real aggressive. So it's kind of like one of those wrecking balls knocking down a building, so to speak. It's kind of how I try to fight, more or less, like.
Mm-hmm. Now, on July 18th, is there any chance you walk out to Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball? No? Why not?
I don't know. It's not really my speed, She's kind of like, she got her own thing going for her.
Oh. Well, every time I hear that song, I think of you. I know it sounds weird, but I just do.
Yeah, I got a couple friends that sent me the video.
Well, I think you're making a mistake. I think you should walk out to that. I think it would be awesome. But then again, what the heck do I know? Anyways, Marcus, moving on. I'm just curious. You've kind of been inactive these last couple of years. You've only fought twice. You fought once in 2010. You fought once in 2012. 2011, you didn't get any fights in. You were supposed to have a fight back in 2010 against Karan Darabidian as part of that Shark Fights 13 Keith Jardine, Trevor Prangley card, that pay-per-view. You were supposed to fight on the undercard of that event. You ended up pulling out with an injury and didn't fight on that card. And that was the last time that you were scheduled to be on a really big stage, and since then we haven't really heard much about you. Just curious, where exactly have you been, and why haven't you been very active?
Just kind of like took a little time off to recharge the batteries and focus on some more or less business things as far as my school, and just let fighting get back to being fun.
Were there ever any thoughts about retirement at all?
No, that really ain't crossed my mind just yet. I've been dotting the I's and crossing the T's, making sure that I can still compete at that level. And if I feel like I can compete at that level, then most definitely I look at walking away from the sport as far as competing in it.
Mm-hmm. You're 38 years old. How much damage have you taken over your career? Obviously, you haven't been that active as of late, but over the course of your 10+ years in this sport as an active competitor, how's the body feeling?
The body's good. I really haven't taken a lot of damage in my fights. Most of them ended pretty quick. Pretty much only had a fight took some damage was Sergio Gomez and Jamie Varner fight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of fighters who say that they can't really gauge how much they've improved unless they're actively fighting. Then there's a lot of guys who say that they can gauge based on their training if they're improving or declining in their skills. Which side of the coin do you fall on? Do you feel that you can't really know if you've improved as a fighter unless you're actively fighting, or do you think you can see it in the gym that you're making improvements or declining?
I mean, I think you know if you're improving. I mean, it's only going to make you a little bit more confident, but you really can't judge it until you put what you believe you're improving on to the test.
Mm-hmm. I see. Now, going forward, what weight class do you plan on competing in? This fight is going to take place at welterweight, I believe. Do you plan on staying at welterweight? Do you plan on going back down to 155? What exactly is the plan weight-wise for you going forward?
We'll fight at 170. This fight is welterweight. I mean, I kind of want to come back at that weight because it's kind of where I found Golden Gloves and most of my amateur career. Kind of look at things from that aspect and then make a decision.
Now, what exactly is the plan for your career? Are you hoping to, continue to fight on the local circuit, pick up some wins, and then eventually make it back to a big show? Is that what you're hoping for, or are you really kind of just playing it by ear and whatever comes? Do you have a set plan of what you want to do?
I mean, yeah, we'll take some steps. Hopefully, I'd like to make one more run at a big show and see what I can accomplish. If not, I mean, I'm probably going to fight. I'm just going to kind of see what happens. But the biggest goal is to make sure that my skills can get me back to the big show.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're 38 years old, which is not old in the grand scheme of things. In life, 38 years old is not very old, but in combat sports and mixed martial arts, specifically 38 is pretty old. How long do you see yourself continuing to compete? Do you see yourself pulling a Randy Couture where you're fighting at 46, 47? Do you see that happening? Do you think that's possible? Because obviously, you're in the gym every day, you're in great shape, you don't have that much damage that you've suffered in your career, you're on a win streak. I could see you fighting for a lot more years. Where's your head at as far as you want to compete and how long you'll do it?
I mean, as long as I'm competing at that level and I'm competing and winning, then it makes sense to me. But if I'm not competing and doing the things I need to do to be at that top level, I'd probably walk away from the sport.
I see. Mm-hmm. Since you've been out for a while, is there anything you're looking to prove, and is there anything you're looking to showcase in this fight?
I mean, I just want to be a better version of when. I want to be a better version of what I was then. Just showcase good skills and kind of impose my will and play my game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Marcus, last question. I'm just curious. When was the last time you read your Wikipedia page?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Okay. Now, I was reading the first line in your Wikipedia page, and it says, your name is Marcus Dwayne Hicks, born November 25th, 1975. He's often mistaken for another lightweight named Marcus Hicks, who fights out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Do you ever get mistaken for this guy? There's another Marcus Hicks who fights mixed martial arts also the same weight as you.
He get us confused quite a bit. He's a heavyweight, I fight on the other end of the spectrum, but, we get confused a little bit, but, it's just the nature of the beast, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Have people ever said to you, like over the last couple of years, when they hear that he has a fight coming up, do they ever come to you and say, hey, I heard you're fighting in Canada, or I heard you're fighting this guy? Did they ever come to you with that?
Yes.
Really? That's interesting.
I even think they got our records mixed up some. One time they had guys that I had never fought or even knew about fighting, but it was him, of course.
I see. I was very interested about that because sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes I thought it was you because, you hadn't been that active in a while, and I thought that it could have been you, and then after I did some research, I realized that wasn't you. But so I can see where people made that mistake. So anyways, Marcus, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I mean, I'd say just, thank you for all for supporting me, and it's still got me through the years, and we'll keep filling out and doing big things in the future.
Marcus, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it, and best of luck coming up on July 18th.
Thank you.